Hey guys, hope you had a good weekend. The last time we were in class we talked about expansion. Let's just do a quick recap of what that looks like. So you remember, if I have something like this and I want to square it or to expand it, 3x plus 2 squared, if I want to expand that, then I would the two ways I can do it. I can go the wrong way. I like to call this the Dorcas way. 3x plus 2, 3x plus 2. And then I'll multiply the terms out, multiply that by that, and multiply this by that, and that, this and that, this and that. So the first one, 3x times 3x, I'll have 9x squared. Then 3x times 2, 6x. 2 times 3x, 6x. 2 times 2, 4. Then I'll end up with 9x squared. 6x plus 6x is 12x, not 12x squared. So like you're adding 6 cows plus 6 cows, you get 12 cows. So this is the expansion of that little thing. This right here is the expansion of that, right? The other thing we looked at was expanding a difference of squares, and I hope you remember, this is just review by the way, that if I have x squared minus y squared, that is the same as x minus y into x plus y. Oops, that won't fit. There we go. Hope you remember this. X squared minus y squared, x minus y, x plus y. Yeah, it fit. To kind of make it more interesting is if I had 9x squared minus 25y squared. That's a difference of 2 squares because 9 is the same as 3 squared. So this is basically the same thing as 3x squared minus 5y squared. And if I want to write that as a difference of squares, it would just be 3x minus 5y into 3x plus 5y. Yeah, this is a very good handwriting, I know. Best one. Okay, so that was last week. This week, remember, we're still reviewing. All of this stuff that we're doing this quarter is reviewing. And this week, I want us to start with factorization. So with the, let's see how far we're here. With the expansion, you should be able to do numbers 1 to 3 of the homework. With factorization, we'll move on from 3 onwards. Let me start with something simple. If I wanted to factorize, because we talked about prime factorization earlier. So if I have 8, and I want to write 8 in terms of its prime factors, or if I want to prime factorize 8, I would go 2, 4 by 2, 2, and by 2, 1. Then I can finally write 8 as the product of 2 3 times, or simply 2 to the power 3. I have written 8 in terms of its prime factors. So I've written 8 in terms of its simplest factors. When we're factorizing, we're trying to write something in terms of its simplest factors. I can still write 8 as 4 times 2, right? That's not its simplest factors. 4 is not the simplest way to write 4. So this would still be the same as 8, but it's not the simplest prime factors. So that's the basic idea behind factorization. If I have an expression like 4x plus 8 and I want to factorize it, I'm basically being required or asked to write it in terms of its simplest factors. So if I want to look for the simplest factor, an easy way to do that is to pull out the common factors. If I look at 4 and 8, 4 is common, so I can pull out 4, and I'll be left with x plus 2, like that. If I want to make it more interesting, example 2, example 1, if it's 4x squared plus 8x, still I want to write it in terms of its simplest factors. I do that by pulling out factors. 4 is common to both 4x squared and 8x. X is also common to both of them. So if I pull both of them out, I'm left with x plus 2. Example 3. Let's say I have 6m minus 4mp. It's a funny p. That's better. Idea is the same. I look for the common factors. 6 and 4 are both even numbers, so they have a common factor of 2. M is here with the 6, but M is also here with the 4mp. So M is common to both. I'll also pull it outside. Then inside I'll be left with, if I took out 2 from here, I'm looking for a number which I can multiply by 2 to get 6. So that'll be 3. And here I'm looking for a number which I can multiply by 2 to get 4, which is 2p. That is factorization in a simple way, in a simple form. So this factor and this factor are the simplest ways, are the two simplest factors, two smallest factors that can be multiplied to give me this expression. So every time we are factorizing something, we're trying to write it in terms of its simplest factors. I keep checking the time because I don't want this video to go too long to bore you guys. Let's do one last example and then I'll give you some homework questions. The last example is, again, you're required to factorize 4m plus 6mp minus, say, 2m, right? So before I factorize this, I can see that there's 4m here and there's also 2m here. This 4m and that 2m are similar. Let's call them like terms. So if I have two similar terms or like terms, the first step is to collect the like terms. So I'm going to get the 2m, bring it close to the 4m, then I'll have the 6mp. 4m minus 2m, quite simply, is 2m. It's like subtracting 4 main jars minus 2 main jars. You get 2 main jars plus 6mp. Now this at this stage is very similar to what we had on the previous page. 2 is common, pull it outside. M is also common, bring it outside. I'm left with 1 plus 6p. Okay, so I think that's it. That's it for today. I'm going to post a small worksheet of practice questions that I want you guys to go through, and we can discuss the rest of that worksheet online. Bye guys.